Hello, viewers! It's your girl, Ruby Fangirl. Yes, I'm finally back. Oh, it was a very long vacation, and also having allergies was not really fun at all. But now I'm finally back. But I have been thinking, what should my next video be? It's a new month, so that means Kaiju Week. Yes, I'll be talking about Godzilla's #1 movie rival that isn't from Toho, Gamera. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not really a massive Gamera fan. I'll definitely explain why as in the video, so take my own word for it. And anyway, let's get into the review. Alright, here we go. So before we get into the Gamera Blu-rays, I want to show you guys one thing. Because you're probably wondering, how did I find Gamera in the first place since I didn't know his existence until now? That's because of this. Mystery Science Theater versus Gamera. Yes, that's right. This is how I found Gamera in the first place, because of MST3K. Because they basically made fun of almost all of the Showa era Gamera films. Not all of them. But later on, when they done the reboot, they actually did Gamera vs. Jiger. So basically they came back to Gamera years later. But I won't go further into this because I'm actually planning to do a video on MST3K in the future, but not at this point in time. If I make up to, let's say 100 subscribers, maybe I'll actually do a full video on MST3K. So please comment, like, and subscribe if you want me to do that. And now in here is the original Gamera, and that is the Showa era. I mean, before we get started, just look at this background. This is just so cool with all Gamera's Showa era villains and stuff like that. And here's the Showa Gamera, and here's the back here, with all the bonus content here. I'm not gonna read it all because it's gonna take too long. And here is the original Gamera. Here, one more thing. There we go. Let's make it black and white just for a little bit. Since this was the only one that came out in black and white, because unlike Godzilla and Kong that only had two black and white movies because of the original and the sequel, this one is the only one out of the Gamera movies that only came out in black and white. And, oh boy, even though this Gamera movie is not really, violent or terrifying as, the original King Kong and Godzilla, because, I mean, we're talking about Gamera here, but this is, before he came somewhat goofy, so he became a little bit more serious in this version. And you're gonna hear me say this a lot. The reason why I don't like Gamera is not because of the monster himself, because he likes children. Yeah, that's the only major difference between Gamera and King Kong. We need to put some kids in these movies. Look, it's not because the children are bad or anything. It's just the acting direction that they were given. So yeah, if the adults who were the children in these movies, I am not making fun of you and not lot. It's just the acting direction that you guys were given. So please don't hate me on that. Especially in this movie, this is the movie that started this trend, and I can go all day about this, but for now though, let's just put that aside. And look at this disc. It's very similar to the cover here, but here's they actually put the movie posters in both of these versions, the Showa and the Heisei era. So I will show you guys all of these, the posters here and the posters here. And here's the original. Alright, let's turn this back to color. There we go. And here's Gamera versus Barugon and Gamera versus Gauss. Yeah, not to be confused with Baragon, because I don't know why, but again, competitor and Godzilla and stuff. And fun fact about Gamera versus Barugon, this is the only movie to not have any child actors in this movie. Hooray! Like, seriously, this is like the diamond in the rough when it comes to no children in Gamera movies. Except for in the Heisei era, but we'll get into that one later. And despite how I am overjoyed to finally have no kids in this movie, it's kind of like a letdown, because it's kind of boring in places, but, I mean, Barugon is quite a creative and crazy monster. And Gamera vs. Gyaos, I do kind of like this one, because Gyaos just looks pretty cool. I mean, no wonder. He's later going to be one of Gamera's, like, formidable foes, just like Godzilla is to, like to King Ghidorah, while King Kong is, like, from the T-Rex. So, I mean, come on. Gamera has to have one at some point. I just like his overall design. No wonder why. And here's the back here. Oh, like, I like the disc, like, they put here, like, from Gamera vs. Gyaos. It looks like he looks like a freaking badass. Alright, here's the poster for Gamera vs. Barugon and Gamera vs. Gyaos. I like that he's, like, flying over here, despite that Gamera does not really, like, do that in the movie. He does a push instead of a flying. Oh, God. These movies are so freaking goofy. Alright. And here's these two movies. Because this is where when stock footage comes into play. And here is Gamera vs. Veiwers and Gamera vs. Guiron. And this movie, I freaking hate it. Because this is the first movie that they made, they put freaking stock footage in there. Like, why? I mean, sure, it's not repetitive, because don't worry, there is another movie that has, like, most of that, and I'll go into full detail on that. But I do like the font that they put in here to make it extra cool. And here's, like, Gamera vs. Guiron, and oh my god, they literally put Gamera and he's about to die in this! Like, who would put that there? And this movie may be the goofiest of all, because there's a bunch. I mean, a bunch of goofy movements when Gamera and Guiron, like, battle each other. Like, Showa era was freaking weird in Gamera movies. And here is the back here. Oh, I do like they put this one here. That's really cool. And here's the Gamera vs. Veiwers poster and Gamera vs. Guiron. Like, every time I look at this, I think it's just like a bunch of bees, like, circling around. I get it's an alien spaceship and all, but it's so weird. And finally, we got 3 movies in one. Gamera vs. Jiger, Gamera vs. Zigra, and Gamera Super Monster. So for Gamera vs. like Jigar, I do kind of like this movie, but it does have like because I mean, sorry, it's just like a also weird movie just like the rest of them, but I do kind of like this one. And it's kind of weird because Jigar freaking pregnates Gamera, and if he didn't like got saved by like the children earlier, he would have like freaking exploded like the xenomorphs from Aliens. Like, seriously. Because think about it. Because Jigar implanted Gamera with her tail, and just like the xenomorphs like lay their eggs, and when a host comes by, they latch onto them, and while it takes the egg stays in Gamera until they're ready to hatch, while in the xenomorphs they suck off their life force and stuff like that, and plant their bodies like in the stomach and stuff like that. And if Gamera like hasn't been saved by the kids, as I said earlier, Gamera would have a freaking Jigar come out of his body, just like the xenomorphs like pop out right in the stomach. God, that was really terrifying to see in Aliens. What a weird concept to have Gamera almost freaking die. Like, seriously, like from the previous movie and now, like this is just insane. Like how they're trying to kill Gamera in these movies. And here's Gamera versus Zigra. To be perfectly honest, despite the slow pace and kind of weird this movie is, I do kind of like this one. I like Zigra's design in general. He just looks really cool despite kind of lame that he is. But overall, I think it's pretty good. And Gamera versus the super monster. What do I need to say about this? Here, let me explain. Imagine 3 space superheroes, lots of stock footage, and Gamera, who only appears in stock footage other than like 2 minutes of a very bad, poorly like version of Gamera. Boom! This movie. Yeah, just like I described, this is basically all monsters attack, but if it's Gamera. Ugh. And also I forgot Star Wars. Freaking Star Wars. I don't need to go into much into detail in that movie, just like what I said. And here's the 3 movie posters. Gamera vs. Jiger, Gamera vs. Zegra, and Super Monster. Alright. So despite everything that I said, like from, you know, like from these, like the Showa era movies, it's still fascinating to see like different like versions of like monsters and stuff, despite how extremely goofy it was. But this is what I call Gamera. Like, seriously, the Heisei era is freaking peaked. Well, except for one of them, but we'll get into that one. That's because that one is not really a Heisei movie. It's more of a 2000s one. But we'll get to that later. Because the guy who did, the director who did, the 3 Gamera movies of the Heisei era, he would later direct one of the greatest Godzilla movies in, like, the 2000s, GMK. I mean, heck, I have the freaking poster of GMK. You know this is going to be great. Anyway, let's look at the back here. Alright, let's take a look of these Gamera movies. And first off, we have Gamera, the Guardian of the Universe. What a title that is. Because despite this is like the first one, I'm not really a big fan of this one. I mean, I get this is the first one and they brought back Gauss. To be perfectly honest, I like the Showa era version than like the new version that they did. Like basically how it's like really designed. I know I'm gonna probably get like threatened by this because I know there's definitely fans of who like this Gauss, but look, take my opinion for it. Alright. And here's the back here. A cool disc here. And here's the poster of Guardian of the Universe. It does look kind of bland, I would say. So, moving on. Alright, next up. Alright, Gamera 2, Attack on Legion. Although in another version it said Advent of Legion. So I don't know why it says Attack on Legion, but whatever. Now this is what I call a Gamera movie. Like, this is so epic. Like, unlike the first one, this is epic. Peak epic. Like, seriously, I could watch, like, this one and the other one later, like, any day. And Legion, she is freaking awesome. Like, she almost, like, literally killed, killed Gamera, like, with her army of, mini little legions. I swear, she's probably, like, the crew of this, and she can, like, produce freaking minions of this. Because Legion is probably the most unique monster in the Gamera trilogy. When I think of Gamera, I think of Legion and the other monster. More on that one later. Because Gamera almost freaking dies in this. Like, he got covered, like, in Legion, like, of Legion's minions, and that's really terrifying. So, yeah. What can I say? It's pretty epic. Alright. Cool disc. Oh, come on. You don't have to go this hard. This is really cool. Alright. Alright. Overall, really good movie. And finally, the last one of the Heisei era is Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris. Once again, peak movie. I freaking love this movie. And Iris, he's also really cool. When I think of Gamera, I think of Iris too. Legion and Iris are freaking awesome. And I really like the part that Gamera, because you know, like the fire he has right here. Spoilers, just to make sure, if you haven't seen Gamera, of course, is that he falcon punches like Iris after he lost his hand. So freaking epic. All right, here's the back here. I mean, sure, it does like require like kids and stuff like that, but they're mostly teenagers, so I don't really mind. Once again, cool disc. And, oh, Gamera, you don't have to go this hard again. This is so freaking cool. I mean, sure. Like, the Gamera, like, posters, like, inside, like, these discs are, or covers are not right up there with Godzilla, obviously. Like, the posters during the Heisei era. But they're still good. And finally, the last Gamera movie that they released until, like, the new anime series that they released is Gamera the Brave. And I think this movie is fine. It's not right up there with the Heisei era, of course, but it's an okay movie. Gamera, he went back to his kid roots, but because unlike the other kids that were really annoying, the kids in, like, these movies, I don't mind them. They're actually, like, you know, when you think of kids, they don't scream in your faces a lot saying, Gamera, Gamera, Gamera. That's really annoying. That's the reason why. So, and the villain of this, he's kind of forgettable, but the design is, like, a little bit cool, but not right up there. And here's the back. Oh my god. See, look, I like all, like, the discs, because unlike the other ones that follow, like, you know, like, the cover, this one doesn't. Like, this is actually the beginning of, like, of the movie, where he freaking explodes. Yeah, he just freaking explodes, like, to kill, all just because to kill Gauss. Man, like, despite this movie aiming towards, like, kids and stuff like that, what a great way to start a movie. Explode Gamera. Here's the back here. Somewhat cool. Somewhat cool. And that's basically all of these Gamera movies. And now, let's get back to me. Oh boy, what a show that was. But before I go, there has to be, like, other videos I should make. I know, let's go back to Ruby. But not just one Ruby video, but 3 or maybe 2. I'll see you guys in the next video.